I'm Mark, and this is Wisdom and Knowledge 5. And this week I'm going to discuss how the United States will never be the way that it was. The United States is no more, in my opinion. And we have to, look back at what transpired this past week. And you're not going to hear this on the mainstream uh, news, no matter what it is, whether Fox, CNN, NBC, CBS, you name it. All these news outlets, no matter who they are, they serve one entity, and that is the Zionist. They are Zionist media, pushing pro-Israel content, and we the people have woken up. We the people are sick of this. We the people, you know, do not stand with them, and shame on them for not reporting on what transpired last week. I'm going to break it down. And right now, let's go to a video that explains what just happened last week. Because a lot of people probably don't even know that this happened. So let's get to it.
I don't even have the energy to do this right now, but I have to. How cooked are we here in America? Grok, how cooked are we in America? What do you mean how cooked we are in America? Yeah, so it passed. The American military and the Israeli military at the highest levels are now marrying and merging with one another. Lawmakers will not receive a separate vote on the bipartisan amendment that sought to remove the section, a proposal to expand the U.S.-Israel defense technology cooperation. That has garnered strong rebukes in certain political and defense, and from the people, because most people, especially if you're awake, we don't want this. You guys see this map right here? This is how many members of the House take APAC money of the House. And did you know 93 out of, I think it's 93 out of 100 senators take APAC money. So now the bill, once it's passed the House, it's now going to go to the Senate. And what do you think is going to happen? Shout out to the people in Congress like Massey who said no, they're not traitors. And yes, this is true. This is Israel celebrating the press release. House includes key U.S. Israel defense measures. We applaud the inclusion of the new provision that will help keep America safe and bolster our strategic capabilities. Are these the two soldiers that just died in the war, another war for Israel? I think those are the two. Do you think that's worth their lives?
I feel sick hearing this. There's an effort in the Congress to, in some basic sense, merge the U.S. military with the IDF, with the Israeli military. Same with our intelligence services. It's hard to believe that could be true. Is it true? What do you know about it?
Well, the National Defense Authorization Act of 2027, Section 219, has a provision that provides for the integration of the IDF and the U.S. military at the top, most sensitive levels of our military operations, and that is a fact. Now, when you have an integration and you say you're going to eliminate duplication, that's a merger, and so they're merging. And the
U.S. military and Israeli military.
Yeah, and in specific areas like artificial intelligence and autonomous functioning of vehicles, that will increase the kill efficiency.
Lindsey Graham would be so proud. Oh, by the way, good news. Lindsey Graham hasn't taken any APAC money for a few days now. I guess that's the good news.
Yeah. What a complete joke. And I'll share more videos on this in just a second, but I just want to chime in. We the people, meaning we the people of humanity, not we the people of the United States. We the people of humanity are sick of this little country that was created by the United Nations. Uh, you know, Trying to destroy humanity, trying to rule over America, trying to rule over, and destroy the Middle East, to wipe out, countries, wipe out, in the name of them, so they can have the Greater Israel Project, you name it. We're sick of this. And we're, especially here where I live, we're sick of billions of dollars going to the country that we can't mention, which you know is Israel. So I'll mention it anyways. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to, not speak the truth. I'm not here to be afraid of censorship. No, I am going to speak out because what is going on, is what we, the people of humanity, do not want to see happen. It's already, bad enough what is going on, but let's get into it even further.
Well, the House went and did it. They passed the NDAA, which enshrined into law the U.S. and Israeli militaries merging together. This is a sad, dark day. I think that all of these people that have voted yes, most of them Republicans, have proven to be traitors to the country, and I don't use that word lightly. I do think they are traitors to the country. They knew about this provision. They put it in anyway. They voted for it, knowing that it would end U.S. sovereignty. This is the most consequential thing that has happened in the history of our government, in my opinion. This is the single most consequential thing. This is the one thing that hands over control of our nation to a foreign terrorist country. Even if it wasn't a terrorist country, just a foreign country, the founding fathers would be rolling in their graves. What did you idiots do? You actually handed control over our military to a foreign government? Well, that's it. You're no longer your own country. That's the end. When you actually hand over your military power to a foreign government, you are no longer sovereign. That is the end. There's no coming back from that. Total and complete idiocy. It's beyond that. It's treason. It's full-blown treason. What were these idiots thinking? This is the beginning of the end. You could argue all day, well, no, it was when we allowed, Citizens United and all the money to flood into our political system, and AIPAC was able to grasp control of all of our politicians and the Epstein files, and they were able to blackmail our politicians. That stuff's all bad enough for sure. They had infiltrated us. They had blackmailed us. They had brainwashed us. They had bribed us, right? They'd done all of these things, but we didn't enshrine into law them actually having power over our military. And once you lose control over the military, you've lost it. That's it. That is the one thing that keeps you sovereign. That's the one thing that keeps you sovereign.
And then look at this right here.
To those that are trying to say, oh, this section of the NDAA bill where we're starting to merge our supply chains, technology, and military stuff with Israel, it's not a big deal. We do that all the time, or this is what we need to do now. So you're telling me from 1776 until 2026, we didn't need to do that for our sovereignty and our country's safety and security. But this year, a year where most of the public has woken up to the fact that most of Congress and both presidential candidates are controlled by the Israel lobby, that Trump started the war that he said he wasn't going to start and couldn't stop the war he promised to stop. The average American has to work like 5 times as hard due to inflation than generations of the past. The list goes on and on. Now we have to pass this little clause, but we didn't have to for the first 200 years of our existence. It's an insult to our intelligence. They think we're stupid. It's like when I look at these Israel anti-boycott laws, they started getting sprinkled all over America in the 2010s. You're telling me that from 1776 until the 2010s, America didn't need anti-boycott laws for any other country, but now America just needs anti-boycott laws for one country. We just need that. There's other great countries in the world, but we don't need anti-boycott laws in America for them, just for Israel. And you're an anti-Semite if you disagree. And then the IHRA anti-Semitism hate speech definition, which was created in Checks Notes Europe in the 2010s once again, all of a sudden Democrats and Republicans started passing this speech definition into law, into legislation, and all over the country through bills, executive orders, etc., schools. But this special speech rule is just for one race, one religion, and the foreign country of Israel. That's it. So from 1776 until the 2010s, we didn't need special speech rules for certain ethnicities, certain religions, and certain foreign nations, but now we do. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Semite. And ignore the fact that the new clause of the NDAA bill, it seems like Netanyahu, in a letter to a congressman, admitted my plan to go from aid to partnership. Anyone trying to gaslight you into thinking that this isn't a big deal or we just do it all of the time is full of it. In my educated opinion, our country is being taken over. Our country is being completely controlled. Our Congress is controlled, Trump is controlled, Biden's controlled. It's not a conspiracy theory. And all they have to say when they try to cover for this stuff is to say you hate people when you don't, call you an anti-Semite when you're not, and claim that for hundreds of years we didn't need to do this, but just all of a sudden now we just have to do it, but just for one race, one religion, and one foreign country. And if it's so reciprocal, are they passing all of these laws and bills in Israel where it's hate speech to criticize Americans and Christians and you can't boycott America? Of course not. And while a lot of fakes on the left promote it, obviously, because they suck, it's the fake opposition Republicans that tell you, no safe space is free speech, we don't believe in hate speech, America first, that are the biggest architects of this and the biggest cover-uppers of this.
Mm-hmm. And then we have other things like the data centers that are, popping up all over the place. Let's get into this right here.
So they brought out the big gun to convince you why AI data surveillance centers are much needed and why you're going to get them anyway. And that you need to convince your neighbors around why it's so good for everybody. And then he also says that there's communities all over America that need them and want them so bad. So which is it? Do we need to convince people, or do people want them so bad? Which is it? President Trump?
Because you have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection, but you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it. Incredible to look at, to see that we could do something like this, but they also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. Revenue from Google's data center construction is allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? And you probably had some negative stuff, a little heat. Oh, yes. We don't want a data center. Usually those are the people that actually want them. And
no,
they'd
you're
like
full
you
of
not
shit,
to build them.
Trump.
Because you know
You're
what? If it doesn't
full
go
of
to
shit,
you, and if it
piece
doesn't
of
go to
shit.
Georgia, as an example, it's going to go someplace else. All these buildings, plants, factories that we're talking about start opening up. All I know is I'd like to be the next president, because I'm going to make somebody look very good. They're going to sit there and all this stuff is going to be opening, and they're going to be saying what a genius they are. It's going to be a much bigger example. You have all these plants that are going to be opening up over the next 2 years, sooner, but 2 years. And somebody's going to look very, very smart, and I hope you remember me, because what we've done is something that nobody thought was possible. Profit. They've also agreed to invest heavily in local communities where data centers are built, supporting job training and local services. They're really spending a tremendous amount of money. In other words, the governors in the room, you have great governors in this room, and these companies are spending tremendous amounts of money on the communities, the local communities. So I think it's important that we tell the local communities that, because other nations are trying to get us to slow down, and they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all
No, you
negative
don't.
stuff. This is, you have communities
lying.
that really want the data centers.
No.
And frankly, those
You
are the
don't.
smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs, very little actual disruption. And the ones that don't want it, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country, because they're begging for them.
No, people aren't begging for it. I like the comment over here where it says all for Israel. It's just so true. I mean, these Zionist AI CEOs, pro-Israeli CEOs, they try to force these data centers upon, communities across the nation. They're making a ton of money off of this, billions off of it. Our environment's getting destroyed. Our, homes are getting destroyed because the house value is going down to nothing, because when you're built next to a data center, and not to mention all the environmental effects, all the noise pollution, you name it, and who else is making a lot of money? Trump's sons. Wow. Trump's sons are making, millions off of these data centers. It's insane. And everywhere I look, humanity, people are saying no to data centers, no to data centers. They don't want data centers. This inhumane prick, and Israel, of course, too, because Israel has to be involved in everything, is just completely destroyed it to the point where we do not have the United States of America. It is the United States of Israel. It is insane. And look at this right here.
Have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection, but you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it.
And then look at this right here. Look at this meme. Recently, I keep thinking about how in Terminator 2, Sarah Connor was thrown into an insane asylum for trying to sabotage AI data centers. The Terminator was a documentary. It's so true. So you look at everything that's going on in our world right now, and you see, you know, uh, how heavily influenced the country of Israel. And one more thing I wanna share with you is this right here, because this is important. I just happened to stumble upon this. You really need to see this right here and what else Israel is up to. This was from 6 days ago. RT News reported on it. Israel planning to use crocodiles to guard Palestinian inmates. Israel has reportedly reclassified Nile crocodiles as tended animals, potentially clearing the way for their use as part of prison security. Yeah, this known terrorist country, Israel, and that's what they are. That's what they are. I'm not talking about Jewish people. I'm not talking about, you know, uh, race. I'm talking about what the IDF, their government, what these inhumane pricks, Ben Gvir, Netanyahu are doing. They have, uh, the ICC has a warrant out for these people to arrest. Anyways, the controversial proposal to surround prisons with crocodile-filled moats was reportedly floated late last year by far-right national security minister Ben Gvir, of course, who argued the reptiles would strengthen security and deter escape attempts. The plan was initially deemed legally unfeasible by the Israeli Nature and Parks Authority because Nile crocodiles were classified as animals that can only be kept in zoos and wildlife sanctuaries. That legal obstacle was reportedly removed this week when Environmental Protection Minister Idit Silman redesignated the Nile crocodile as a tended wild animal. Israeli media reported on Friday. The new classification allows the reptiles to be kept in a wider range of facilities, potentially including prisons. The new designation reportedly comes despite warnings from the ministry's legal advisor who told Steelman she had no authority to unilaterally decide on the status of crocodiles and lay the groundwork for their deployment into prisons. A few weeks ago, Ben Gvir and Stillman reportedly held a meeting with the legal advisor and Nature and Parks Authority Chief Rhea Soraki, pressing them into accepting the dubious plan. According to Israeli media reports, Ben Gvir wants to first introduce the reptiles to Ketzah prison penitentiary in southern Israel that holds primarily Palestinian prisoners. After he first floated that proposal, the Israeli prison service reviewed it and sent it to officers Hamat Gader Crocodile Farm to the Hamat Gadir Crocodile Farm early in January to familiarize themselves with the reptiles. The IPS reportedly received the minister's proposal favorably, considering settling for smaller specimens that would cost about 8,000 per hand rather than the elder reptiles costing around 20,000. This is relatively small sum compared to the security investment photo a prison requires, and the results would be even better. An IPS source told the Marev newspaper at that time, adding that the also dangerous small reptiles would eventually grow inside the prison compound. I mean, you can't get more inhumane than that. I mean, we already knew, the whole world knows how inhumane these people are. And it's not people from there, it's not, Jewish people, it's not people from there. This is their government, IDF, leaders Netanyahu, Ben Gvir, people like that, people who have this mindset, people who are supporting this. That's who it is. And, you know, we as humanity have spoken out. And it's funny, we just had the World Cup. And, you know, it was Spain versus Argentina. And normally Argentina is beloved. This World Cup, they were violent, they were disliked. Let's just put it that way. Let's put it nicely. They were completely disliked. It was like, you know, Argentina versus the world. The world wanted Spain to win, and some of the Spanish players holding the Palestinian flag, and they knew that uh, Argentina, not only Argentina playing dirty and fighting the refs on calls, and the refs giving them favoritism, which it really seemed like, throughout the games. And Argentina players whining like crazy, over calls and things like that. We also know there's strong ties to, Israel. We've seen pictures of, Messi with Netanyahu, you know, uh, you name it. And the world, you know, was 100% going for Spain outside of Argentina. They were, and Spain won. Everyone thought Argentina was going to win. They thought it was rigged for Argentina. They thought this, that, and the other. And then Spain comes out and wins. So, anyways, just wanted to share this today. We, as humanity, we need to continue to speak out, be a light in this world, because they want to silence our voices. They don't want us to have a voice. We have to have a voice. And we promote peace. We don't want endless wars that Israel wants. Israel wants endless wars. We don't want Israel uh, we don't want endless wars. Basically, we want the exact opposite of what they want. Their leaders and their puppets pulling the strings. We don't want that. We want peace. We want, freedom for humanity. We don't want this massive surveillance state that they're pushing on us. We don't want that. We stand for humanity. We stand for peace. Anyways, for Wisdom Knowledge 5, I am Mark. Peace. Much love to everyone across the world, wherever you are listening.